Hi, welcome to the Major League Baseball segment of the show at the Daily Line. I'm Jarvis. This is Greg. Busy card today, Greg. Let's get right
Yeah, a
into
lot of
it.
games.
Start things off with Chicago Cubs playing in Houston. Cubs are laying 124. Zambrano's on the mound against Paulino. Paulino, 1.8 runs allowed in his last three starts, but he's still 0-7 on the year. He's playing, obviously, with a club that has been having tremendous trouble striking the ball.
Yeah, that's a polite way of putting that,
I know.
Jarvis.
Houston's record is just slowly slipping off to oblivion. They got to make a change.
Well, you know the thing there, and speaking of changes, Baltimore fired their manager.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
you know, with Houston, they've had. If you go back and look, they've had March, the odd game that they played in March, April, May. They've started slow, and they usually come on a bit. Their bats have been harder the last three games. Zambrano is not the same as he was before. Chicago has 4 combined runs in losing in their last 3, and they've scored 2 runs or fewer, Jarvis, in 5 out of their last 6 games. So their bats aren't exactly stellar either. Houston has scored the second fewest runs in the majors. I think we talked about this the other day. They've got 174 runs.
Yeah, their batting average is low. Their run production is very low.
The last 3 games when they won against Washington, they put up 19 runs in this 3-game winning streak. Now, Felipe Paulino, you got to feel bad for him. He's 0-7. He's pitching well, though. He's allowed 2 runs or fewer in 4 of his last 5 starts, Jarvis. And they are batting, when he's on the mound, 1.97. That's a major league worst.
197.
197, that's right, 197. Run support is horrible for him. 0 runs over the last 4 innings in his last 2 starts. So it's pretty tough to win if you're not getting
any runs. And sometimes,
any runs.
pitchers will struggle through that, but when you've got a team like Houston, it's not like you can expect that to all of a sudden turn around. This is Zambrano's first start in over a month. He pitched on April 20th. He was injured since then, but what do you think about Chicago in this game?
Well, I don't like Chicago. I like the home team. And Zambrano, I feel that it's time for Houston to turn around. Their bats have been a little bit better, and there's a good system on this game too, Jarvis. If you take the money line when it's plus or minus 125, and you play against a team with a starting pitcher who gives up 1 or more home runs per start, and that applies to the Cubs starter, Zambrano, and you've got this place there in Houston where it's not that big a venue. Home runs are a lot easier to hit there than Seattle or San Diego. So you want to play against this team when their starter is giving up 1 or more home runs per start, and they're facing a pitcher that is winless. He's 0-5 or worse.
Okay.
Going back to 1997, 65-26 in this spot, plus 39.3 units. And you know what, Jarvis? It's been live 5 times this season. It's 4-1 against the number this season. I have an official selection on the Houston Astros listed pitchers as a small home dog.
Okay, well, you find a spot to pick a dog. There you go. System to back it. Good luck with that. Cincinnati is in Washington. Washington's record has trickled down a little bit. 3 games below 500. We know they were fighting to keep their head above water, but it wasn't expected for them to do that much longer. Livan Hernandez is on the mound for the Nats. His last win was exactly 1 month ago to the day. Aaron Harang going for Cincinnati. I saw an interesting stat on the Reds. Cincinnati is 1-7 backing Harang in games where they scored less than 7 runs. You don't expect Cincinnati to get more than 7 runs very often, so Harang's going to see his record dip if this continues.
Well, you look at the 2 starters, and I'll just say this. Hernandez opened the season, Jarvis. He was 4-1, and his ERA was .99. Since then, he's 0-2 with a 3.52. He's 0-5 with a 6.51 ERA in his last 9 outings against the Reds. The Nationals' first baseman, Adam Dunn, he used to play for the Reds. He played with them from 2001 till 2008. He's batting .222. That's it in 10 games. He's 0-8 lifetime against Harang. You look at the other side of the ledger. We've talked about how Joey Vito did well when he went into Pittsburgh.
Right.
Well, Vito has played really well against Washington. He's .333 with a home run and 9 RBIs and 11 lifetimes against the Nationals. The last time they played in the series, or last year in June, he was out for that. So I like the road team. They're a better hitting team. You want to play on a National League team, Jarvis. In this spot, when that line is plus or minus $1.25, and they're playing against a pitcher in his ERA and WHIP range, if he's allowed 1 or earned runs in his last outing. It's a little technical. Long story short, by backing the road team, 43-18, 71% the last 5 seasons. I have an official selection on this game. I like the Cincinnati Reds.
Like the Reds. Okay, let's run the bases with a couple of quick shots, Greg. We'll start things off with San Diego and Philly. Minus 220 for the Phils. They've got Roy Halladay on the mound. Halladay just 3-2 in his last 5 starts.
Yeah.
3.05 ERA. We know about his perfect game, but Latos is on the mound for San Diego, and I like what Latos has done. He's 4-0 with a 1.29 ERA in his last 5 starts.
You're seeing a Halladay line here. That's just ridiculous to have a line like that, Jarvis. It's way, way, way out to lunch here. You know, if you take a team like San Diego and you play them on the run line, because they're a dog here, you play them on the run line in this price range, and you've got a starter for San Diego that gives up 5.5 or less hits per start. And we've got a great whip in his last 10 games by playing the road team on the run line, 78 and 19, Jarvis, 80%. Plus 47.5 units.
There's just no way Philadelphia should be laying that kind of price when you consider that they have not scored more than 3 runs
very good point.
in 10 straight games.
Yeah, very good point.
Their hits are there. Now, obviously, Roy Halladay is going to be out to do his regular thing. You can't expect – you don't expect to need more than 3 runs a lot of times. But when he pitched with Toronto and they came out and started producing slumps like that where they were just not getting any runs – then his record started to dip. That's where he came up with no decisions. Yeah. You go to the bullpen if they need him for a bit. San Diego looks like a good play as a dog there. Philadelphia 1-7 after a loss. But last year Philadelphia was 5-2 against San Diego, including 5 straight wins to close off the year against San Diego. So again, dog money. I lean towards San Diego getting the price here. Yankees in Toronto. Yankees 128. Total is 915. Burnett's on the hill against Cecil. Blue Jays had a day off after 2 back-to-back late 9-inning chokes against Tampa Bay. You cannot do that against the best team in your division when you already know the cards are stacked against you. So what do they do coming back against New York today?
Well, if you take the home team here in this spot, if they're averaging 1.5 or more home runs per game, and they're playing a foe that starts a pitcher who gives up 1 or less earned run in his last outing, Jarvis, by backing the home team in this spot, 64-27, plus 30.4 units the last 5 seasons. I like the matchup here. Don't know the umpires yet, but I have an opinion on the home dog here as well.
Okay, let's look at the Angels in Seattle. We've got Angels laying 110, small favorites, 8.5's the number. Saunders on the hill, lefty, but he didn't fare well in his last start against Seattle. Obviously, Seattle's lost Griffey, but they've got Snell going against tonight. You've got something on the dog here?
Yeah, if you've got a dog at $1 or to $1.50, you've got a starting pitcher here, Jarvis, that does not perform well for Seattle. He lasts less than 5 innings per start. That's the bad news. The good news is the bullpen's rested. They pitched 1 or less innings in the last game. In this spot, if you play on the home team, 35-16, 69%, plus 26.4 units the last 5 seasons. I have an opinion on this game, Jarvis, on the Seattle Mariners.
Okay, and then recapping 2 plays, Greg. Earlier you had Houston, you had Cincinnati. One play we didn't have up there. I like Colorado, Arizona to stay under 10. Haven't posted as the official play yet, but Colorado has played 4 unders in a row. Arizona's coming off back-to-back 1-0 losses against the Dodgers. Going to do a bit of work on that one. Their pitching was a late decision, but I like the under in that spot. That's baseball for today. Check the site. We'll have a preview up there for you soon. We're going to come back and do NHL quickly, recap game, or talk about Game 4 between the Hawks and Flyers. That's going tonight. It should be good. We'll be right back.